Welcome to Decision 2020, the U.S. House of Representatives Candidate Forum. This is an opportunity for voters to hear directly from the candidates. Today, we turn our attention to the U.S. House of Representatives race in Michigan's 6th Congressional District, where Republican incumbent U.S. Representative Fred Upton faces Democratic challenger Jon Hoadley, Libertarian Jeff DuPois, and Green Party candidate John Lawrence. We continue Decision 2020, the U.S. House of Representatives Candidate Forum for Michigan's 6th Congressional District. Today's forum was recorded Monday, October 12th from the studios of the Meijer Public Broadcast Center at Grand Valley State University. Joining us now is Democratic challenger Jon Hoadley from Kalamazoo. John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, for those who are not familiar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself and why it is that serving in Congress is important to you.
I'm working for the privilege of serving folks in Congress, and I've been talking to folks across the district, and here's what they're telling me. There is a lot of uneasiness and anxiety about the future. Our healthcare system is broken. And even before COVID-19, I was talking to folks who were taking their medication every other day to make 30 pills to stretch over 60 days. And my partner, Chris, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So I know firsthand what it's like to have to fight with insurance companies and be constantly worried about getting the health care that you're going to need. Michigan is known for its Great Lakes, and we're still in the middle of a drinking water crisis. I've talked to numerous parents who tell me that they buy bottled water for their kids because they're worried that the water they're giving their babies has lead or PFAS in it. And all the while, corporate polluters have been given a free pass to continue toxic contamination in our Great Lakes and drinking water. And I say all this because these issues are personal to me because this is my home. And frankly, for 34 years, Congressman Upton has enjoyed the best health care in America on our dime, while at the same time voting to take away health care over 60 times, voting to take away coverage for pre-existing conditions over 12 times, and even voting against lowering prescription drug prices. At the same time, Congressman Upton has received over $1.5 million from pharmaceutical companies who have an incentive to keep those prices high. I say all of this because the challenges that we're facing haven't gotten better. And so I have a proven track record as an advocate, as a state legislator. I've been fighting for healthcare, for lowering prescription drug costs, for protecting our environment, promoting equality, and so many other issues that matter to Michigan families. I would be honored to continue that work in Congress, and so I hope I can earn people's vote.
The coronavirus pandemic is a public health crisis, killing more than 210,000 Americans so far this year. It's impacting the economy, education, and society at large. In Congress, what steps would you promote stemming the spread of the disease and supporting the economy and our schools?
So when it comes to COVID-19, we have to make sure that we are prioritizing direct investments in people and listening to the scientists and public health experts. Look, we are at a precipice where we could see a second wave of COVID-19 coming through. And to prepare for that, we need to put a couple of things in place. First, we need to prioritize science. That means that we have to support laws and actions that encourage wearing a face mask, washing hands, staying socially distant. And we have to then support economic programs that make that likely. Let's make sure that we're investing in our small businesses so they have the support to get through the pandemic. It also means that we've got to double down on support for our schools. It's good that many schools are moving virtually to do this work, but it's hard. And then frankly, it's also exposed the digital divide. So that means as we move forward, we have to make sure that all of our students, regardless of their income or whether they're maybe living in a rural spot that has less access to broadband, actually get the technology to stay connected. And then finally, we need to make sure that we can trust the science behind a vaccine. And as it becomes available, we need to encourage everybody who can to get it, because that's how we're going to then move to a safe and healthy Michigan. And when we beat the virus, we're going to beat the economic downturn and get back to work.
Well, with the coronavirus impacting Americans' activities, what action should be taken ensuring that the presidential election is free, fair, and secure?
I was really proud that Michigan voters overwhelmingly approved Proposal 3 back in 2018. And that provided a right in our state constitution to vote by mail. I highly encourage folks to make a plan to vote. Whether it's going to iwillvote.com or checking on the status of their own ballot or ballot application at michigan.gov/vote. You can make a plan that works for your families. If you are planning to mail your ballot in, please make sure you put in the mail before October 20th, 2020. That'll give plenty of time for the ballot to arrive at the clerk. If you still have a ballot after that time, many Michigan municipalities have secure drop boxes that you can actually hand deliver your ballot, and I support those efforts. And finally, if you want to vote on election day, that is your constitutional right, and you deserve to do that safely. So I encourage folks to work with their local clerks and their polling places to make sure that there are safe and socially distant options to be able to cast your vote in person. Polls will be open from 7 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night on November 3rd.
The Affordable Care Act has been long debated. What is the correct course for providing Americans with health care, and do you believe people with pre-existing conditions should be protected?
So this is one of the most clear distinctions between myself and Mr. Upton in this race. I believe more people should have health care. Fred Upton voted to take away health care numerous times, and no amount of resolutions or platitudes after the fact will change the record roll call votes that he took 12 times to remove protections for pre-existing conditions, offering an amendment that allowed a repeal of the Affordable Care Act to move out of the House that frankly would not have afforded any sort of protections and was dramatically underfunded at best. The reality is that millions of Americans, through no fault of their own, lost health insurance because of the pandemic when they needed it the most. On top of that, over 8 million Americans already will have a new pre-existing condition because of COVID-19. Healthcare is on the ballot. While we're recording this, there's literally confirmation hearings for the next Supreme Court justice who has supported the repeal of the Affordable Care Act. That means that coverage for pre-existing conditions could go away, that lifetime caps on your health insurance could go back into place. The ability to cover your kids until they're 26 could be at jeopardy in this race. I mean, the choice is so clear. It also means that whoever wins this election could be critical in crafting healthcare legislation moving forward that makes sure that more of our families have healthcare coverage at lower out-of-pocket costs. The choice in this race is clear, and if you care about healthcare, just like I do for myself and my family, then I hope I can earn your vote.
President Donald Trump has made it a point to renegotiate trade deals. Some of the negotiating tactics includes enacting tariffs. In your opinion, is this overall plan working? What job creation strategy or strategies do you support?
As a framework, I support fair trade. I also believe that we need trade. Michigan makes incredible products. We manufacture some of the best machines in the world. Our agricultural products can feed the entire globe. We need to make sure that we're opening markets for our makers, our growers, our movers. The problem is that there are many folks in the international sector who are abusing the generosity of our country. China notoriously has been a currency manipulator. Now, the problem is that with many of the tariffs that have been constructed, it does not have a rhyme or reason. As a result, we're fighting with some of our allies instead of just those who have been trying to cause economic harm. That's why I support smart, fair trade agreements. The USMCA was a great first step. I do think that we need to make sure, though, that we are removing tariffs on things like European exports and continuing to make sure that we hold China and other currency manipulators accountable.
In Congress, how would you address racial injustice and police brutality?
So we should start this question with a very clear answer. Black lives matter. And over the summer, millions of Americans woke up to the systemic racial injustice that has been occurring for centuries, but oftentimes very frequently in our own backyards. I think at the same time, we can also recognize that so many of our law enforcement officers who take an oath to protect and serve are frustrated when there are bad apples that have gone without accountability. So here's what we need to do. We need to make sure that we are promoting systemic changes that deal with racial injustice across a number of issues. COVID-19 highlighted very clearly the disparities that exist based on race in our healthcare system when we saw uh, disproportionately high fatality rates among African Americans and Latina members of our community. I'm glad to see that there's a COVID-19 task force that's being led by Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist to address those issues. But then we should start making systemic changes in healthcare to deal with that. The same thing is true in education. Infant mortality rates, our criminal justice system, acknowledging that based on the color of your skin, people have experienced this very differently. At the same time, let's put into place some common sense solutions that will help provide greater transparency and accountability to our police force as well. And we can take steps like in the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act that would, we can ban chokeholds. We can make sure that we're providing transparency, anti-bias training. We can make sure that we're taking those concrete steps that helps us promote safe and effective communities. I'll just say, as a state legislator, I've been proud to spend more investing in the tools that our first responders, police and firefighters have asked for, including increased funding for the mental health of police officers. Let's provide more tools, not less, to do the job well.
From cyber interference in democratic elections to the proliferation of nuclear weapons, what defense or national security measures are necessary for dealing with emboldened world leaders and terrorists targeting the United States?
Cybersecurity is a real threat, and it's yet another example of when we think about investing in the security of our country, we need to be making sure we're securing all of the ways that those who wish to do harm may do so. We absolutely need to crack down on the proliferation of direct cybersecurity attacks. As a state legislator, I've been proud to fund and support efforts that provide greater protections from a cybersecurity perspective on our state computers. I think we absolutely need to do that at a federal level. Beyond that, the organic and paid misinformation that is coming out of concentrated efforts, particularly from Russia, China, and other world actors, is a direct threat to the free and fair elections that we have here, let alone other economic crimes. That's why we need to take those types of stances seriously. And finally, I support programs that actually could help more of our small businesses take a step forward with cybersecurity too. As a state legislator, I voted for the cybersecurity security corps that was helping at a state level to provide expertise to more of our businesses. Let's model that work and do more of that across the country. So everything from not just the biggest companies, but our smallest mom and pop shops can have some safety and security online too.
All right, we have about a minute 20 here, and we'll use it. How will you deal with special interest groups influencing policy in Washington?
I'm someone who's taken the no corporate PAC pledge. There's a corrupting influence of money in politics, and that's why we need to see less money. We need to see less of these dark money lies that are being spread by super PACs who aren't accountable. Frankly, we work best when voters have the biggest say in policy in their elections, as opposed to those who can just write the biggest check. I'm proud that I've taken actions as an individual level. I'm ready to vote for H.R. 1, which would be the largest ethics and campaign finance reform that we've seen since Watergate. Unfortunately, Mr. Upton voted no on that. And I'm ready to make sure that we empower regular people, not special interests.
Do you believe humans are significantly contributing to climate change?
Yes. I mean, I don't know what else needs to be said there. We know that we're in a climate crisis and that there's a shot clock on how long we have to get this right. We should frankly be taking bold action right now to make sure that we're investing in green technology, which would be green jobs in Southwest Michigan. We have an opportunity where we can make jobs right here at home that can't be outsourced or offshored. Let's do it, and let's leave a planet that's better for our children and grandchildren.
West Michigan, Southwest Michigan, known for natural resources. Are there additional protections that you believe are needed protecting our water, our forests, and our farmlands?
We need to make sure that we're preserving and conserving the natural resources that make Michigan pure Michigan. Yeah, I'm someone like so many of us that love going to Lake Michigan. And Yeah, I can't wait to be able to actually invest in more resources in the conservation of Lake Michigan and all of our Great Lakes. I recently voted for funding that will help keep the Asian carp out of out of Lake Michigan, which I think is an important first step. But I hate to see that funding for restoring our Great Lakes continues to come up every single cycle as a budget fight. Let's set that aside and create a 5-year funding plan for the Great Lakes so they're not subject to the whims of political parties and fighting. We could do the same thing to invest with our farmers so that they have additional capital to improve their equipment and continue to improve with their environmental programs. And frankly, we could do the same thing with forest management as well.
Under what dire circumstance or government necessity would you be willing to support a tax increase?
I think that we need to make sure our taxes are fair. I'm tired of middle class people and working people having to take on their backs, paying for tax cuts for some of the wealthiest folks among us. You know, middle class families and working families, they had it hard. And, we need to make sure that we're putting more money in their pocket. And when we can support smart programs like funding for childcare, funding for healthcare, funding that helps us fix the roads so it's not coming out of our pockets and repair bills, all of that is money that we're actually then finding a way to save for working people. So I'm open to figuring out the right taxes, but not for working. I'm tired of working people having to foot the bill.
We have about 2 minutes left. There are economists concerned with growing wealth disparity as a threat to the country's future economic growth and prosperity. Do you concur or disagree? Explain.
I'm worried about growing economic disparity, and frankly, so are many other folks in the economic security and security regions as well. Look, when Fred Upton voted for policy that ultimately benefited only the most wealthiest among us, it actually exasperated the pockets of most working people. I mean, at the end of the day, I look at how much is in my paycheck, and I think many of the folks that I talk to do as well. And it doesn't just matter what's coming in that paycheck, but what's in the bank account at the end of the month. For too many years, we've been seeing Michigan families have to deal with less and less in the bank account at the end of every month. Things are getting more expensive, paychecks are staying flat. This is not sustainable. And what we know is that when we deal with economic inequality and actually pass policies that help working people and the poor lift themselves up, then more of our communities thrive. We support local businesses, all of our kids do better. So let's encourage those policies.
Do you believe the nation should invest in alternative energy or rely on fossil fuels securing energy independence?
We need energy independence. It's good for our economic and our long-term national security interests. As a state legislator, I've actually introduced legislation that would encourage the investment of clean energy futures. By the way, this is great for Southwest Michigan. We could see a clean energy boon in wind and solar power. And these are jobs that can't be offshored, can't be outsourced, and they can be in every one of our small towns if we want them to be. So here's the reality that fossil fuels have a long-term economic cost, both locally and to the planet. So let's accelerate our shift away from fossil fuels, move to a clean energy future, and secure the economic security of Southwest Michigan in the process.
John, final question. Are you ready?
You betcha.
Is there a moral or personal issue you support that is in opposition to your party's ideology? What is it, and why do you strongly adhere to your belief?
When I think about a personal position that I feel really strongly about, it's issues related to race and equity. There's been times where I've had to stand up to my own party and say that doing the right thing, even the hard thing, might not always make for good politics, but it's the right thing to do. And I was proud to fight for additional investment in the Benton Harbor High School when it was being threatened with closure. I think making sure that there is a local high school in our communities is powerful. It speaks to community, it speaks to our local pride, but also it was the right thing to do where we've seen many majority minority communities that were under state management for years now being left with a giant bill that they didn't even have say in how it was spent. So I'm willing to stand up to my party and do the right thing um, it, when the times call for it. And I'm proud to be a Democrat, but I'm even more proud to do the right thing at the right time.
Democratic challenger Jon Hoadley from Kalamazoo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.